welcome to day 3 of 25 Wild Christmas Review Days, the cartoon specials. And on the third day, there were babies. If you couldn't tell by that statement and also the title, today we're talking about the Rugrats Christmas special. So strap in, we've got another old one coming right at ya. Rugrats is old. Rugrats was one of the first and longest running Nickelodeon Nicktoons, running from 1991 to 2004. The show focused on a group of babies exploring the world in their own way and getting themselves into adventures as they wandered away from their parents. In 1992, the first Christmas special, The Santa Experience, premiered. The grown-ups rent a cabin up in the snowy mountains to celebrate Christmas together and give their babies a great holiday experience. After their scary Santa experience at the mall, Chucky now fears Santa Claus, leading to Charles and Drew coming up with a way to show Chucky and the babies Santa isn't frightening. Meanwhile, Angelica tries to undo her lying to Phil and Lil after she learns there's a chance she could be on the naughty list. Then, in 2002, the two-part special Babies in Toyland premiered. Stu brings the babies and all the grown-ups to a holiday village designed by him. When looking inside an old-fashioned Western house, the snow machine malfunctions, causing the grown-ups to get trapped inside. Meanwhile, the babies hunt down Santa and his workshop to give Dill a memorable Christmas, despite Angelica forcing him to quit. Rugrats was a cool show, and I definitely kept up with it. It's not one of my favorite Nicktoons. Obviously, SpongeBob and Fairly OddParents are much higher than Rugrats. But Rugrats as a franchise, I think, is just an icon to Nickelodeon history. It was the first, or at least one of the first Nicktoons to ever premiere on the network when they decided to create original content. Rugrats was also revived just a couple of years ago. It aired exclusively on Paramount Plus, which is a streaming site, and that's it. I haven't seen the revival, and honestly, I have no intentions on seeing it. I'm not interested in seeing a rebooted Rugrats show that brings the Rugrats into the 21st century. It's just, I feel like that's so outdone. We don't need any more reboots, but we know they're gonna keep happening. I like the Christmas specials. I remember I saw the Santa Experience years ago, and the one thing I always remembered about that special is the very end, spoiler, when Angelica does in fact get coal, or at least a small little lump of coal in her dollhouse that she wanted. I don't know why that specific scene is the one thing I remember from that episode, but that's always just resonated with me. Obviously I saw it on TV, and when they stopped airing Rugrats on TV, that's when I stopped seeing it. But I hadn't seen the special until the most recent years when I purchased a Nicktoons compilation of Christmas specials on iTunes. That Rugrats Christmas episode was on there, and that's when I got to check it out again. And I like it. It's very old-fashioned, definitely. It's one of the earliest Rugrats episodes. I think it was a season 2 episode, so it wasn't too early, but you could tell just based on the animation, it was very old. You can tell which episodes are from the early days of Rugrats and which ones are the later episodes just by the animation alone. I think it was a really cute episode. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the first Christmas of all the babies, so it would make sense why they're acting the way that they act. It's a cute story overall. It mainly does focus on Angelica, and it's very strange because the second Christmas special, Babies in Toyland, also kind of falls in line with Angelica's storyline of being naughty, which is a little weird because you would think that maybe she would learn, but the Rugrats timeline is very strange. But I feel that she was essentially the main character in the Santa Experience. I enjoy watching it every year, which is what I do along with these other Nicktoons that I watch. Although if I have to be honest, I think I like Babies in Toyland over the Santa Experience. Not that there's anything wrong with the Santa Experience. There's something, to me, a little more festive to Babies in Toyland. And I don't know if it has anything to do with it being a later Rugrats episode and looking a bit nicer than the Santa Experience. There's just something about Babies in Toyland that resonates with me more. I seem to remember more from it. I don't know if it's because I went so many years without seeing the Santa Experience and I saw Babies in Toyland more. That might have a little aspect to do with it, but I like Babies in Toyland just a little more than the Santa Experience, which is a first, because the past couple of days I've been saying the first Christmas specials of SpongeBob and Fairly OddParents are my favorites, and the second specials are just okay. This time I'm switching it. I like the second one over the first one if I had to choose. Babies in Toyland, that is after not just the Rugrats movie, but also the Rugrats in Paris movie. I don't know about Rugrats Go Wild. I'd have to check the timeline. Maybe I could confirm that here. But I do know Babies in Toyland is towards the end of the original Rugrats run. Because I had seen that a little bit more than the Santa Experience, there is obviously a little bit more that I remembered even before going back to watching it. I definitely remember the Nutcracker fight and the music that's done. Usually with any Rugrat episode, or essentially any production, it'll typically have a similar score to it. And I really like it when we hear a Christmas rendition from the same instruments that are used over and over again in a show. So in this case with Rugrats, the instruments that we hear that do the traditional music that we hear in Rugrat episodes, it's really interesting to hear their rendition of the Nutcracker. That's what's always really stuck with me. The grown-ups getting locked in the cabin, that also has stuck with me. Grandpa pretending to be Santa, Angelica's subplot, all of that stuff I remember, and I haven't seen this episode until just about an hour ago, just to refresh my memory and make sure that what I'm saying is all 100% right. There's a few notable things that, looking back on it just recently also, I noticed two things that for some reason I never noticed while watching it. Not even just when I was younger, but even in the more recent years. One of them is that Angelica doesn't have Cynthia in this episode, and instead she's got a little Prancer doll as her sidekick. Now, I feel like that is easily a Christmas substitution for Cynthia. I just thought that was really interesting. And upon researching this episode for this particular video, I learned that the voice of Hermie the Elf is Paul Rubens. I never knew that, and it wasn't until hearing the song that is sung in the middle of the episode, I didn't put together that that was his voice. Paul Rubens, he passed away. He was Pee Wee Herman. I don't really have anything else to say other than these are pretty good specials. If you're interested in tracking these episodes down the best you can, they should be on Paramount Plus if you have Paramount Plus. If you don't have it, well, that's up to you if you want to get it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I would say these episodes are definitely both classics in their own way, and they both aired at interesting times in Nickelodeon history. I feel like the Santa Experience represents the really early age of Nickelodeon as it was really trying to get its foot off the ground and being an independent children's network, which it probably was at the time, but in terms of creating its own media, that can be seen as one of the very first Christmas specials, along with the other shows and their first Christmas specials. I just think that that's one of the earliest pieces of Christmas media we could find in Nickelodeon history. And then Babies in Toyland, I feel, definitely fits with Christmas Who and Christmas Every Day and all the other Christmas specials that aired in the early 2000s that made Nickelodeon very great around that time. I could be wrong, but I think they mainly promote Babies in Toyland with the Nickmas promos that they did. So that's probably another reason why I remember Babies in Toyland more, because it was just on more around that time, opposed from the Santa Experience, which they also aired, but not as much, at least to memory. I'm pretty sure Rugrats has done a third Christmas special with their reboot, which I've made very clear by now I'm not watching. I don't have any interest in doing it. I also have to give Rugrats credit, and not only just doing a Christmas special, but also doing a Hanukkah and a Kwanzaa special, which are two episodes that to this day I have never seen. I think they're some of the only Rugrat episodes that I haven't seen. Just by memory, I don't remember them ever playing on TV. I'm pretty sure they were video releases first and then they aired on TV, but I just never saw them. But I do think it's really cool that we have a show that not only has a Christmas special, but also specials for the other holidays in December that I don't personally celebrate, but I know other people celebrate. So I just think that's really cool. You don't really see that often. Wee, wow, look at all that Christmas. Hey, so that's it for the Rugrats Christmas review. I hope you had fun. Did you enjoy the Rugrats Christmas special? Sure, I'll ask you that question. Which special do you like better? And have you also seen the new one? I'm not going to watch it, but if you've seen it, maybe tell me how it is. You're not going to convince me either way. And that's it for day 3, everybody. We've made it to 3 days. We've got a bunch more, including tomorrow, which is day 4. Day 4 is all about science. It's a science Christmas special. And boy, do people have some choice words about this special. What is it? You're gonna have to come back tomorrow to find out. Hopefully I see you there. Thanks for watching The Wild Review and The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing.
Stop the world!